Hi everyone, this is Doll here and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. Today I'm going to be filming a video about my Louis Vuitton collection, which has gotten a lot smaller. And I also want to make a few disclaimers and apologies. So I apologize for being away from my channel for a long time. I definitely have been thinking about my channel. I've definitely been thinking about purses, and I've been doing a lot of, I guess, researching and selling and things like that. And where I am at my life in terms of my collection is that I'm opting for more of what I'm thinking is a minimalist collection. I'm far from being a minimalist. It's just that I used to have so many purses that it was very overwhelming. Before I started making, I think, YouTube videos, I had over 20 bags. And then earlier this year, I had gone down to 15, but I still felt that was overwhelming. So I've made some changes, and my upcoming videos will reflect that. But this video is specifically about Louis Vuitton. And I also want to make a disclaimer that if you are currently just in love with Louis Vuitton, in a relationship with Louis Vuitton, that this is in no way meant to be offensive. This is how I feel about the brand right now, and feel free to agree to disagree with me. Okay, so I'm going to show you what is left in my collection. And so right now I have just my Louis Vuitton key pouch, or my Louis Vuitton clay, the monogram left. And this is something that I foresee is going to be in my collection forever. I watched a lot of luxury attic tag videos, and this has always been stated, or this was a really popular choice as something to, a very affordable piece and yet very useful. So I use this as my everyday wallet. I put my cards in there. I have a little bit of cash and sometimes some coins, and I usually have the chain with the key holder part out with my keys in there. And this is the smallest, most durable, and just cute little purse, I guess, that I can find. And I'm very used to having my keys and my wallet together. It's almost like you're responsible for one item rather than two, because if I had a separate wallet and separate keys, I feel like then I'd be digging around my purse for two things instead of one. And so I'm always going to be using this or something very similar to this. And right now this is the best that I've experienced so far. The other thing that's left in my collection that will be leaving soon is this ring keychain. I totally forgot that I had it after some time. This is meant to be sort of a key finder in a bigger bag, like a Louis Vuitton Speedy or a Neverfull. You could attach one side to the D ring and the other side to your keys, and then you can find it easily by tugging at the chain, or you can use this as an alternative strap on your Louis Vuitton pochette. And so I forgot that I had this, and I didn't put it on my selling list, but I will be selling that very soon. Okay, so going back to my relationship with Louis Vuitton. So in the very beginning, my first Louis Vuitton was a Speedy, and it was in the monogram, and I loved it, and so forth and so forth, until I found out that the untreated leather does develop a patina, and it took a while for me to get used to that. And then after a while, I fell in love with all of the other prints, so I got, the Speedy pretty much in every print, the pochette in every print, and I actually owned quite a few Neverfulls as well. And so, but earlier this year, what was left in my collection was two Neverfulls. They were both in the MM size. One was the monogram one with sort of like the hot pink. It's not really hot pink, but the brighter pink interior. And then I also had the classic damier Ben with the red interior. And I loved both of those bags, and I found purposes for both of them. One was more casual, the other one was more discreet and professional. And they were great for travel, for school, for work, for a long day. And I had debated whether or not I needed both of them, and I said that I did based on, what I just described. But then I always thought that having two was kind of, like, as I mentioned earlier, I'm moving toward a more minimalistic collection, so I kept thinking like whether or not I could live without one of them. And then pretty much what happened was one day I was just looking at my bag and trying to figure out my collection. I did sort of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the book, but it's been very popular. It's Marie Kondo's book about tidying up. And she said to, lay out everything of your collection so you can see it sort of as a whole and touch each piece and see if you're in love with them and if it sparks joy. And so pretty much I kept looking at my collection as a whole, and it just seemed that it was still overwhelming at 15 bags. And then there was something about the Neverfull that was just very, very loud to me. So once again, I had the monogram Neverfull in the MM size, which a lot of people do, and it had that sort of bright pink interior, and it was developing a nice patina, but it just looked really, really loud to me. And once again, this is no offense to people who still love the monogram, because I still appreciate it from afar, but it's just I don't know if it's just the phase I'm going through, but I've recently decided that, I probably wouldn't want a completely monogram bag, and I know that's maybe controversial to say. In any case, I thought maybe I could, just keep the Damier Ebene one, because I had told my husband that if push came to shove and I had to choose between the two, I would save the Damier Ebene one. Okay, and then what happened later on was when I was browsing some purse forums and just like online, I discovered that, and everybody already knows this, that Louis Vuitton has recently come out with a Neverfull in the Damier print with the rose ballerine interior, and I am definitely a pink lover. And so I looked at that bag and I thought it would be really nice to have it. I had watched a lot of YouTube videos and looked at pictures, and so thank you for those people who made those YouTube videos and took those pictures, and I decided that I wanted that bag. And of course I wouldn't have 3 Neverfulls, and because I was already falling out of love with the monogram one, I thought that I could sell both of those bags on the condition that I would repurchase this new one in Rose Ballerine and just have that one Neverfull. And so I went ahead and I sold the monogram one first, and then the Damier Ebene one, and then I went to see the one with the Rose Ballerine. And I know that this is probably something that all of you would recommend that you don't do, and I probably recommend that you don't do it either. It's not to sell your things until you know for sure you want something else. But I was just so, in a way, over what I had. Like I just wasn't in love with those bags anymore, that I felt like even if I didn't like the Rose Ballerine Neverfull, that I guess I would just live without the Neverfull. And I still have my Longchamp tote, so it's not that I didn't have a big tote bag. And so even in my mind, I thought it would be great if I wasn't in love with the Rose Ballerine, only because it kind of make my life easier, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I sold the 2 Neverfulls, and I went to the Louis Vuitton store and they didn't have it. And so I had to have it ordered in. And so when it was ordered in, I went into the store and I looked at it, and I just wasn't in love with it. It's hard to explain because I think that it looks really beautiful on some other people, but I felt like the Rose Ballerine was it's not that it was very pale, but it just didn't pack as much of a punch as the red. And I think the sales associate can see the look on my face, because he recommended that I not purchase the bag. And so if the sales associate's telling you that maybe you shouldn't get it, I think, coupled with your own doubts already, that's a pretty sure sign that it's not meant to be. And so it was a little bit sad, because I really do like the Rose Ballerine, but I've not been able to keep any of them in my collection. And so maybe me and Rose Ballerine aren't just not meant to be. Any case, so I passed on the bag, and I figured that if I saw it a little bit more, and maybe if I checked it out another day, I might have a different reaction. And so later that week, I did end up at another Louis Vuitton store, and I just kind of popped in and asked if they had that bag, and they did. And then they showed it to me again, and I had the same reaction. And I think a part of it too was the way that it was presented. Both of the bags were very bent at the corners, and I know that with canvas you can smooth it out, but if you know about the Damier Ebene one, there's like that leather at the top, and it's supposed to be kind of stiff, right? And so when it's bent, it's not as soft as the untreated leather, and so to me it looks like it's harder to, I guess, flatten it out again. And so pretty much I just didn't like the way that it was presented. It's far from being crumpled, but it had a very crumpled looking look to it, if that makes sense. And so I decided once and for all that I wasn't going to get this Neverfull with the Rose Ballerine interior, as much as I like the idea of it. And so once I sold those 2 bags, and then I didn't repurchase this one, now my collection has come down to this. I also had owned 2 other clays in the multicolored collection that's now been discontinued. I had it in the noir and also in the blanc, in the white. And it was really easy to sell the white because it was in brand new condition. I never used it, and there was still the tape on the zipper pull. And I decided to sell that in terms of just, being more minimalistic. That one was probably going to be the most high maintenance one, being white, even though, it'd been okay if I really, really wanted to keep it. And then after I had just this one and the multicolor and the black, I decided that because this one is more convenient in terms of its size, I don't really need that black one with all the different prints, like with all the different colors on it, as much as it's really cute. And so I ended up selling that one too. And so pretty much it feels like I have broken up with Louis Vuitton, and so far I feel okay with it. In terms of my future with Louis Vuitton, I'm not really sure, only because I've had all of this experience with some of their bags, and at this point there's nothing that I would spend that much money on. There's definitely bags I like, but in terms of spending that much money, there isn't anything that I would spend that much money on. I think that now that I've gone through the Neverfulls and the Pochettes and like the Evas and the Speedies, that phase is done. I don't see myself going back. In terms of the leather bags, I mean, I feel like I still really like the Twice bag. I had some reservations with it when I first bought it in the rose ballerine color, but I think I like it in the noir. But even then, there's something about it that's not quite right for me. So in the future, there could be an all leather Louis Vuitton bag, but in terms of the canvas things, I'm not sure. Only because I've also experienced glazing issues, not on my Neverfulls, but in my Neverfull pouches. There was like glazing coming off of my Neverfull PM pouch that I had made a video about. And so with that much money and that much those problems, I feel like you shouldn't have those kind of problems with that much money. And also, as I mentioned before, my aesthetic is changing, and so monogram, I still like them for accessories, but I don't see it in a bag for me, at least not in the traditional canvas print. One of the things I did like though was the 6-key ring holder, but I think I'm going to hold off on that as well, because if I switch between this one and the 6-key holder, then I would always have to take my keys off my ring and put it on that. And if I want to switch back to this, I would have to put it back on my ring. And that just seems like a lot just to switch it back and forth, when this works perfectly. Like, I'm more than happy with this item that I'm showing you right now. And so that right now is my relationship with Louis Vuitton. It's pretty much minimal. Please comment down below if you've experienced something similar, or if you're still in full swing love with Louis Vuitton, because there's all different kinds of phases, and things come and go. So tell me if you're still in love with Louis Vuitton, if you're falling out of love with Louis Vuitton, if you find it just classic, you find it loud. Any opinion is welcome. And so that's pretty much it for my collection with Louis Vuitton. In my future videos, I'll be talking about what changes I've made, and I made a lot of changes. So please subscribe and stay tuned, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!